Hello?
Hi, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Mr. McCarthy. Yeah, this is Lemke.
Excellent. You see are you on your computer as well?
Yes.
Excellent.
So I see the graphics says welcome to the April 27, 2020.
Yep, that's right. I'm just I'm working right now with Laura to get the live stream link on our website here. So everything is live now and active. So
great. And Ed, you can. This is Ryan Holte. Can you see me or hear me as well?
I can hear you, but let's see here. Get the video. Did you get the video request there?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on here.
Okay.
Right now, what I see is the it's the same slide that Ray was just referencing.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. All right. All right, I can see.
Well,
Okay, great.
well, to everybody's considerable relief, I'm sure, since I don't have a webcam, you are not going to see me. I'm sure you've all seen me enough previously that this will be a welcomed respite.
Ray, hearing you alone is pure pleasure, Ray.
Can I wipe the sarcasm off the earpiece of my phone?
Zoom might have a filter for that. I'm just still trying to find it.
Hi guys,
How you doing?
it's Monday afternoon and it's sunny outside. So doing
Perfect
good.
time for a meeting.
Exactly.
Angie, it looks like you're in southern Utah, so that's good.
It's just my background dropped from my Zoom. Was there. You don't want to see my background, my natural background drop.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see my face okay?
I see a bit of a shadow, but somebody's there. So
Okay.
Hey everyone, just an update. I'm working with Mr. Sander to get him into the meeting, so it'll just take another minute or two.
Okay.
Hey, you still there? You're not Mark and Donna, correct? Oh, here you are. All right. I see you. Okay. All right. He is on his way right now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. We'll have to go without picture for me.
Okay.
Although I can see you, but I'm on the phone.
Perfect. I've got the recording is active, and the meeting is also live streaming now. So we can begin whenever you're ready, Mr. Sander.
Okay, I apologize for being late. Technology sometimes fails on my end. Let's see. Want to get to our agenda. Who do we have on the line now?
We have we have Mr. Sander, Mr. Holte, Mr. Lemke, Mrs. Holman, Mr. Burr, and then we also have a number of the applicant's representatives, including Ms. Conley and Bill Gupton. And there are a couple other members, I believe, of the public that I am not familiar with that are also joining.
Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. I guess is Laura there to give a roll call?
She is not, but I can do the roll call.
Okay, please.
Okay. Mr. Sander,
Here.
Mr. Holte,
Here.
Mr. Lemke,
I'm here.
Mrs. Holman,
Here.
Mr. Gentile, Mr. Hayes, and Mr. Burr.
Here.
Okay. And we have a quorum, including Mr. Burr, will be our alternate.
Okay. We have a way to do a Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, we do.
Okay. I will lead that. Thank you, Eddie.
Sure.
I pledge allegiance
Yes.
to the flag of the United States
of America,
of America.
And to the
and
republic
to the republic
for
Which it
which
which
stands,
it stands,
one
Nation,
nation,
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty,
liberty,
and justice for all.
justice for all.
for all.
Thank you very much. Thanks for bearing with me on this. The only way I can get into this meeting. The first thing on our agenda appears to be nominations for the chair of the Pierce Township Board of Zoning Appeals. I've been privileged for the last 2 years to have been the chair, but it's time to have someone else. And at this time, I will. I understand that we can only nominate people that are on the board right now. We cannot nominate those that are. What's the term for it, Eddie?
So full members are available to be nominated to the chair and vice chair positions. Anyone who's an alternate presently would have to be reassigned by the Board of Trustees beforehand.
Okay, so the full members. I'll open the floor for nominations for chair of the BZA.
This is Ryan Holte. I nominate Ray Lemke as chair.
Okay, are there any other nominations? The only comment that I would have is that Greg Gentile is the vice chair, but he is not here represented in this meeting. We will not elect this evening. We will not elect a chair or a vice chair, but I would like to nominate Greg Gentile, just because He with Ray, has been here a long time. So are there any other nominations? Okay, then at a later date, Eddie, we will vote on the chair. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. And you'll also need to determine how you want to proceed with the vice chair positions as well.
Okay. We can nominate, open for nominations, vice chair. Is there anybody who would like to nominate a member?
This is Lemke, maybe relevant to all of that. I would say, since it's my recollection that I have served as chair in the relatively recent past, that it's acceptable to everybody else on the board, that maybe we should leave Greg as the only nominee for chair.
I didn't know that, and I would support that, Ray, if that makes more sense.
My recollection is I chaired the board in the not too distant past, and I kind of feel like we really ought to rotate it around.
Okay, well, I would certainly support Greg as well.
Okay. What about a vice chair? Not hearing a nomination, I would present the name of Ryan Holte as vice chair.
I knew this was going to swing back to me somehow, Bob. Thanks.
No good deed comes without consequences.
So just for the record, Mr. Holte, are you rescinding your nomination of Mr. Lemke and replacing it with Mr. Gentile?
Yeah, given Mr. Lemke's feedback, I'm supportive of endorsing Greg for primary chair, and happy to step up as vice chair if that's what the board would like.
Okay. All right, and then we will have a mechanism for members to vote on this, Eddie, in the future.
Yes, so what I'll do is I'll include this on our next meeting agenda, and we'll have the nominations available, and everyone will be able to, we can vote by roll call at the next meeting if that works for everyone.
Okay, that'll be fine. The next thing on our agenda is a review and approval of the hearing minutes from February 24th, 2020. I've looked them over and I have no comments on them. Has anybody else had a chance to look them over?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Any recommended changes, additions, or deletions?
No, not on my part.
This is Lemke. I would move that we approve the minutes as written.
If I can just interject really quick, everyone received the April 27th letter that I sent by email. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. The only recommendation that I have is based on discussions with Attorney Keating is that we amend the minutes, particularly the second item, to cross-reference this particular letter, indicating that the traffic impact study, in retrospect, the traffic impact study item does not appear to be an enforceable condition. So that would be, there's a full explanation in that letter as well, as far as what steps are being taken, as well as a brief history on what exactly occurred with that item. And I can get into that in further detail, or more detail, if anyone is interested as well.
Well, I would amend my motion to be a motion that we approve the minutes with the amendment to cross-reference the letter regarding the traffic impact study.
Okay.
I'll second that
Is there
motion.
a-
This is John.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Okay. Pulte,
Yay.
okay. Mr. Lemke,
Yes.
Mrs. Holman,
I wasn't at the meeting, so I abstain.
okay. Mr. Burr,
Yes.
Mr. Sander,
Yes.
and it passes by
Okay.
4-0.
All right. The new business that we have for this evening is case number V as in Victor, C as in Charlie, 2020-003 at 796 Locust Corner Road. And it's a dimensional variance. And I would like to, you said we had a person represented, the Ms. Connolly, is it? Is that correct?
That is correct, Ms. Conley, yep.
Okay. And if you could, we will, if she would take an oath stand and raise your right hand.
Okay,
I can't see her.
Yep, I am unmuting her right now. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lag.
Oh, okay.
She should be unmuted now.
Ms. Conley,
Hello.
us?
I'm Susan.
Hi, Ms. Connolly, Bob Sander, the chair of the BCA, and you're on conferencing, some of us by TV and some of us just by telephone. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals for Pierce Township.
Thanks very much.
And if you're going to present some information, we ask that you stand wherever you are and raise your right hand for the to take the oath.
She has her right hand up.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will tell the truth in these proceedings?
I do.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, let's see. All right.
Hey, Bob, so sorry to interrupt this, John.
Yeah.
So do we have anybody in the audience that's going to be speaking that we need to swear in?
Is there anyone else?
Mr. McCarthy just took the oath.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was included with the oath with Miss Conley, and I can unmute each person and see if, and if they're interested, then we can give them the oath.
Okay.
I'm Bill Gupton. I'm the president of Heritage Acres, and I could get sworn in. I don't know if I will need to speak or not, but we can go ahead and do that.
Okay, and I'll
Okay.
get the other people as well, just so maybe we can do it all at once.
All right.
And it's two more people. It's Miss Buckley and a gentleman named Paul, I believe.
Okay.
And I'll let you know when they're online here. It's kind
We
of
should be
All right.
raising our right hands.
Hey, Eddie, can you hear me? This is
Thank you.
Mark and Kim.
Yep, I can hear you.
We would like maybe to have a comment somewhere in here, if that's okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
I know there's a way I can do this.
All right, we have Paul. Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
All right. So we have Paul, Miss Buckley, Mr. Gupton, and Mr. Kim?
Mark and Kim, yes.
Mark and Kim. Okay. So if
Okay.
looks like everyone's ready, Mr. Burr.
Okay, if you would raise your right hand, please. And the oath is, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will tell the truth in these proceedings? Please respond with I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
And so what I'll do is I'm going to unmute everyone but the DA members. And as the presentation portion comes about, as well as the applicant's opportunity to speak, we'll begin unmuting everyone. Now, if you want to speak, you can use the raise your hand capability, or if you're on the phone, press *9, and we'll see that you're raising your hand. And that way, we'll be able to determine if we, particular portion is appropriate for someone to be able to speak during the presentation.
Okay, the next part is the staff report.
Okay. So the application you have before you is an application for 2-dimensional variances to construct a 960 square foot storage building for property located at 796 Locust Corner Road, Pierce Township, submitted by Heritage Acres Memorial Sanctuary, LLC. Specifically, the applicant is requesting 2-dimensional variances from 4.05 D2 of the zoning resolution, which states all chapels, mausoleums, accessory buildings, or other buildings shall be located a minimum of 200 feet from all right-of-ways and all lot lines in a residential zoning district. And now, specifically, the applicant is looking to obtain a variance to place a structure 185 feet from the eastern property line and 60 feet from the western property line. The subject lot is zoned single-family residential, and it also abuts a number of single-family and planned unit development properties. The subject property is being utilized as a cemetery, and it appears that all adjoining properties are used for residential purposes. Now, as you can see, the applicant's site plan shows a 185-foot setback and a 60-foot setback, while the structure is located approximately 350 feet from Locust Corner Road. If you'll bear with me here, I can try and better highlight that for you. Everyone can see the proposed location in yellow there. This is a second additional site plan with some more detail regarding the topography. The applicant submitted this after your packets went out, but it details some areas that are flat. It shows the existing approximate 200-foot boundary requirement and what would have been the ordinary building area per the regulations. The applicant's structure is proposed to be a green metal building, approximately 12 feet in height, of course, to be used for storage and to be built on an existing slab. Here you can see an aerial of the property, specifically the zoning, with Legendary Run to the northeast of the site. In this diagram, you can see as well the existing slab area for where the building is to be placed. Staff reviewed the application in accordance with 3.08 B2. Specifically, the following factors shall be considered and weighed by the BZA to determine practical difficulty. Now, although there are some areas with steep slope on the property, There do not appear to be any egregious irregularities associated with the property. There also appear to be many shallow sloping areas as well. The applicant has stated that there are some steep slopes on the property and that there are locations that are inappropriate as they affect the view shed from burial sites. Staff determined that the property has been approved for use as a cemetery, and although a storage building for maintenance is a necessary component for operating this use, staff believes it would be possible to locate the structure elsewhere on site. Therefore, a reasonable return could conceivably be derived without the variance being granted. Whether the variance is the minimum necessary, staff determined that due to the presence of an existing slab and due to the fact that the applicant will be utilizing said slab without an expansion, this does appear to be the minimum request necessary. Impact to the character of the neighborhood and substantial detriment. Character does not appear to be adversely affected. The staff understands this to be a significantly subjective issue. According to the sidewall height would be 10 feet and peak less than 12. The green metal building again with white trim, and in staff's opinion appears to fit in well with a fairly rural location. There does not appear to be any adverse impact to the delivery of government services as a result of this proposal. And it does not appear that the owner created any particular circumstances that for this variance. Staff has not received any documentation indicating why the building could not be feasibly placed elsewhere on the site within 200 feet, 200-foot setbacks. Now, as far as the intent and spirit of the zoning, the applicant's request appears to meet the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution. The existence of a pre-existing slab, the nature of the structure for storage, and the proposed setbacks of 60 feet and 185 feet do not appear to adversely impact the community or substantially conflict with the land use plan. One key item to understand as well is that the typical side yard step back for primary structures in the SFR is actually 15 feet in the single family residential district, and it's 5 feet for accessory structures. So keeping in mind the most conservative of the applicant setbacks is actually 60 feet. So it's significantly greater than what would be required under other circumstances normally. It appears also that the nearest offsite structure appears to be 100 feet from the proposed building as well. Generally aiming to preserve open natural spaces and keeping grass areas free from paving, graveling, etc., appears to be in keeping with the rural character of the township as well. The applicant also does not appear to be obtaining a special benefit or special privilege from the granting of a variance here. Now, staff has also provided some potential recommended findings. Now, of course, the board does not have to adopt take staff's recommendation, but these are findings that you could refer back to should you find them applicable through your deliberations. No single factor listed may control, and not all factors may be applicable. Each case shall be determined on its own facts. And so 1 through 6 are actually just a reiteration of the findings that, or the review that staff concluded in just the prior items here. So the staff recommendation is, upon review of the foregoing, we've determined that the literal enforcement of this resolution will result in practical difficulty in accordance with 3.08 of the zoning resolution. Therefore, staff recommends that the board consider conditional approval of the application in accordance with 3.08 variances B2, contingent upon the applicant complying with all federal, state, and local regulations as per the findings stated 1 through 6 under staff findings. And the applicant, of course, is here. Should you have any questions, and staff is also available for questions if you have any.
Okay, is there a representative of Heritage Acres that would like to speak to the issues?
And for the applicant's representatives, if you would like to raise your hand using the raise your hand function under the participant panel, or press *9 if you're on the phone, that'll raise your hand. Otherwise, I can start with Ms. Conley and we can go down the list. She was the point person that I've been working with primarily for this project, not trying to offend anyone in particular. Ms. Conley, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. We feel like this is a good representation of what we're asking for. Thank you very much, Eddie, for all of your hard work. Since there is an existing slab there, and that is probably where we will be storing our materials, we'll have probably a small backhoe, some other equipment. We would really like to be able to hide that from the view from the road. And it would be great if we can just go ahead and put a building back there on the slab. But if you have any questions about what it will look like or what we intend to use it for, please ask.
Ms. Connolly, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Ryan Holte. So there was previously a structure there that was larger than what you're proposing from what I read. Is that right? It used to be 20 by 60 or something like that?
Yes.
All right. And it at some point just fell into a state of disrepair and became dilapidated and was torn down. Is that right?
It was torn down about 2 days before we signed the final papers. So the previous owner took it down for us. We thought that that was a good thing for them to do, and turns out maybe have left it there, but it was falling down.
Okay. And to your knowledge, have any of your immediate neighbors there objected to this, I guess, new shed or new structure going up on the same slab?
No, the only thing that I have heard is everybody welcomes it because they don't want to see our backhoe. They would like to have a structure there.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback.
Sure.
So this is John. So I have a question for you, Susan. So thank you for joining us today, this evening. Are you going to be storing any equipment outside? I mean, if you're small, it means you've got some extra space around the building for, extra pad there. Do you plan on graveling around the building at all to store equipment outside, or is all equipment going to be stored inside?
We had planned for all of the equipment to be stored inside for safety reasons and to hide it from view.
I guess that's probably my only concern is, knowing I do maintenance for one of the local high schools, and we build a large structure and we store stuff outside, and we'd planned on it. I guess if you grow and you got to store things outside, or you got to expand the building, what's that do? I mean, where's that put us, Eddie, if something like that happens?
Well, I suppose then we would have to revisit the situation, but that's probably many, many years down the road.
Yeah, the key issue that we're dealing with here pertains primarily to the setback location. So theoretically, the applicant is permitted to have a larger, well, could conceivably have more storage on site, but an expansion of this particular proposal outside of the bounds of this board would create a conflict. It would essentially be creating a nonconformity, which would not be permitted. So okay. It would be capped at this particular footprint.
It would be the size of the slab that we're asking for. We're not making a building that big yet, but we are asking for a variance for the size of the slab since it's already there.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we have Kim has raised her hand to speak as well.
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, our comment really has to do with location. Fully understand the need to have a place to store equipment and like the idea of the building. I have no problem with the building. But the location, I mean, I'm not sure how many acres of usable flatter area, but it would be better for my view from my house if I didn't see more just building or whatever on the site. And if there's other areas, you know, I think I think it's whatever part A of this staff review talks about the effect it has on the burial sites. And I want to say it's going to have an effect on the other side as far as site and which is more impactful. So that's my comment. If there are other places that this building could be located and not be viewed from the street, that would seem to be more in lines with keeping the place as natural as it could be, and as I think the idea was to keep everything pretty natural. So that's a comment. Why put the building out there? I understand there's a slab, and certainly it would be nice to use that, but you can put a slab in other places and put the building where it's not seen. And the second part to that, it would seem to me to make sense to have your equipment closer to where you're going to use it. So putting it back on the property a little bit would make it even a little more accessible for you. So those are our comments.
This is Lemke. Could I ask a couple of questions to the gentleman who just spoke?
Sure, please.
First of all, sir, help me out. Where are you? Where is your property in relationship to the property we're talking about?
We're across the street, 795 Locust Corner Road. The address for the Heritage is 796.
Okay, and sir, how long have you been on your property?
41 years.
Okay, so you were there back when this property was Lenoba's farm, correct?
Sure, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Just following. Oh, it looks like Miss Conley is has her hand raised, literally.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it otherwise. Yes. Right now, as you can see from the aerial photograph, there's shrubbery around the slab itself, and I think we had intended to keep as much of that as is there now and let it bloom so that you would not see the shed from the road. I'm pretty sure you couldn't see it from the road. Do you know if you could see the previous building that was there?
Yeah, we could. Before there was actually the Novus's daughter and son-in-law have built a ranch, as you know, probably the previous owners. We certainly could see the Novus's house, could see their outbuilding, could see their barn from there. Yes.
And you could see that shed also.
Yes.
Are there any other comments from the board or anybody else that'd like to say something?
I guess this is John Burr again. So just to comment on Mr. Kim's, you're across the street on Locust Corner, so you're roughly over 300 feet away from it now, right? The building, because the building's 300 feet off of Locust Corner. I'm just trying to get a picture.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so it's pretty far back there already. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
This is Bob Sander. I'm not quite sure I understand about, was the comment that you could come back to ask us to add to that building in the future? Did I hear that right?
So for clarification, there's, I guess, two things that'll be helpful. And Ms. Conley can speak to this a little bit more clearly just for the record. But as far as the actual footprint of the building goes, this site is over 5 acres in area. They are permitted to have an accessory structure up to 1,500 square feet in area. So they at their present proposal, they're at 960. The primary question, however, that we're dealing with, of course, is the setback of 185 and 60. The key, essentially the key would be, and Ms. Conley can clarify this for the record, is if the setback proposed 185 and 60 is from the slab, or if it's from the actual building proposed.
The slab.
Okay, so the building itself will actually be further away than
Yes.
185 and 60 feet.
Correct. It's on the 60-foot side. That's where the building would start. But on the 185 side, it's 185 feet to the slab. And so it's 200, almost 200 feet to the building itself.
So under a worst case scenario, we would have a building that is conceivably up to 1,500 square feet, and it is 60 feet and no closer than 60 and 185 to the property lines.
Correct.
Okay, does anybody else have a comment? If not, I would, Eddie, what's the next step?
Well, what I can do is just to be better safe than sorry, because we don't want to run into a circumstance where someone might have a technical difficulty and doesn't have the chance to speak. I can go through. I know that the Kim family, or Kim, and I believe Mark, have been able to speak, but then I think Paul, Ms. Buckley, and Mr. Gupton, I can unmute them and see if there's anything that they want to add. If not, they can just nod their head no. So. Paul, can you hear us?
Yes, my name's Paul Stockhauser, and I represent Misty Meadows Farm LLC, which is a group of my wife and her 3 sisters, and they grew up on the Novus Farm. And along with that, Janet Bertzel and her husband live in a little ranch house that borders right near there. And they couldn't make the call, but they're the ones that have the barn kind of shed that's pretty well about almost parallel or even a little bit closer, and to where the slab would be. And they have no issue, from what they told me. Yes, that's right. They have no issue with this, having a small barn there, because they store their equipment in their shed, and the new barn would look a whole lot nicer. And I know, as far as the neighbor, the other parcel that Misty Meadows owns, we don't see as a group there's any problems with us. They've been doing wonderful work there, and they seem to be good neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else?
I will. Thanks. Thank you, Paul. I'm going to meet you now.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Gupton, can you hear us?
Yes. Well, you wanted me to unmute myself, so I did. I don't really have anything to add necessarily. I do believe that maybe you got a letter of support or two from a neighbor. I don't know if that's true, but I was told that that would be sent in. So sort of reiterating what Paul said.
Eddie, this is Lynn. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Just to add, when I was out at the site, Charles Birdsall happened to be out, and he walked me back there to the slab, and he's excited about what they're going to do, and his is the 60-foot setback. So, you know, I just reiterate that yes, the closest neighbor that would be affected by this is in very much favor of it.
Looking to unmute Miss Donna Buckley, but okay.
I can unmute. I'm on the board of trustees for Heritage Acres also, and I'm just here to observe. I have nothing more to add.
All right, Mr. Sanders. So we've gone through everyone, has had the opportunity to speak here. I think the next steps would be a motion including findings for how the board would like to proceed.
Mr. Gupton said there might have been a letter that was sent to you from a neighbor.
Yeah. Let's see here. I have the file in front of me here. So I've gone through the file, and I do not have any letters for or against, and also for the record, I do not recall having gotten, specifically, I have not received any phone calls in opposition, which I can confirm that.
Okay. Okay. Does the board have any questions?
This is Mr. Burr. I do not.
Lynn,
No, no more questions.
Ray,
No,
and Ryan.
no questions.
All right. Having no other questions, I will entertain a motion regarding the dimensional variance for 796 Locust Corner Road. And that's case number VC 2020-003. Would someone like to make a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chairman, this is Ryan Holte. I make a motion to proceed with the staff's recommendation that we grant conditional approval of the application in accordance with section 308 of the zoning resolution.
And also, I recommend too, and any findings that you may have that you would like to include in the motion as well. And I have sample findings as well in case that is something that you find to be helpful. That are included on the PowerPoint there.
I don't have any additional findings I'd want to add to that motion, but I'll defer to my colleagues if I'm missing something obvious here.
So a question, so we'd have to, part of the motion would be to include these findings? One or either none of them or all of them?
Yeah, or if you have something in particular that you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything in particular. I know number one, I definitely would like to include. And actually, all of them are pretty good.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
This is Mr. Burr. I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the variance as presented. Could I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Let's see. Mr. Lemke? Is Mr. Lemke there? All right, so what I'll do is I will.
Hang on, he was muted. He's unmuted now.
Oh,
Ray, you're
right.
unmuted.
All right. Mr. Lemke, were you able to hear the deliberation?
Yeah, I heard most of it. I was off the line for just a moment, but I feel like I've heard adequately. Yes, I am in favor of the motion that was made. Sorry, I tried to second it, but apparently you didn't hear me.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so Mr. Lemke is yes. Mrs. Holman,
Yes.
Mr. Sander,
Yes.
Mr. Holte,
Yes.
and Mr. Burr.
Yes.
Okay, the vote passes.
Is there anything else to come before the board?
I do not have any other items. It does look like we've been having essentially, for lack of a better term, an avalanche of new applications coming in for a number of projects, and some of those look like they may be variances that'll be coming in. So we'll probably have another meeting very shortly in the near future. So I'll be reaching out to everyone just to see what everyone's availability is.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie. These are troubling times, and while we love to meet together so we can see each other and be able to discuss it face to face, we understand that we have to make some adjustments. I want to commend Eddie for putting this together. I know it's a bit cumbersome, but I believe everybody has properly had their say. And if not, give me a call and we'll see what we can do differently in the future. But I want to commend Eddie for putting that together and for moving us along. So thank you.
Concur in that.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great job by everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
Sure. Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work, bud.
Would a motion to adjourn be appropriate at this time?
It would.
Then I would move that the current meeting of the Pierce Township Board of Zoning Appeals be adjourned.
I'll second that.
That's Ray Lemke, and who was the second?
Ryan Holte.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded.
All right. So
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
all right.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.